Hello everybody, welcome back to Mature Racing Club's Gran Turismo Touring Car Championship, and this time around we're with the good folks in ProAm 1. We join them in week 5 for the race St Croix B. Running through the grid, so this is the one where all the drivers are in the same car. So they're on the Ferrari 458 GT4. They all had a little bit of time to do some quali laps. So this is the order. So Peter Mister, you can just see the spoiler there. We'll see him plenty in the race, no doubt. He's stuck in on pole for this one. Gold 45 lines up alongside him. Shuri 69, the big fat fingered boss man. He's P3. Tide Flea 87, P4 for him in a very nice Budweiser liveried car. The Halfords car of Crazy. He's P5. We've got the Michelin car of Bell Stanovich. He starts P6 today. Slow Seamus, P7. P8 Shaggy Scooby. P9 is Mart. P10 is Steve Stones. P11 is DJD. Mr. Ginge, P12. And then Ricky is in P13 in the pink one, as we are used to seeing. Let's get this one under the way then. A big false start there from Shuri. He certainly got away a little bit prematurely. Probably not the only thing he does prematurely, but we'll see. Peter Mister though got away nice and cleanly. It's a 3-car fight then, and chaos is ensuing all along, and it's all gone wrong here. Gold 45 all the way at the back. We've got Crazy off as well. Ricky J's made up one place, and because of Crazy going off, Gold's got all to do again. Mr. Ginge P10, DJD P9, Steve Sones fighting with Mark for P7. Mark's trying to get on the back of Shuri. We've got cars contacted side by side. That was Shaggy Scooby and Bell Stanovich, I think. Oh no, it wasn't. Shaggy Scooby and Mark. Shaggy Scooby just about getting ahead of them. Shuri's trying to get in behind. I heard some tyres screeching, and then as he entered the bridge section for the first time, Shaggy Scooby gets ahead just in front of everyone else. The top 4 for the time being are behaving themselves. We've got Bell Stanovich in the middle of a Slow Seamus and Shaggy Scooby sandwich then. They're going to go 3 wide. And for the time being, Bell Stanovich comes out ahead. Slow Seamus back to Peter Scooby. That's Dennis hitting the wall in the background. That kind of lets Mart escape through. So coming down into where there's prime suck zone for these drivers, and a big long straight now. Plenty of opportunity to get overtakes made coming down to the bottom. Maybe let's flick back up to Peter Mister leading the way. I do like the quick fit liveries they've churned out this season. They do a really good job with them. Peter Mister leads us down for the first time. Tide Fleet's P2, Bale, Slow Seamus. Was he looking for a move though? We've got 2 cars going side by side. That is Steve Stones getting involved in that one as well. Shuri's trying to go on the attack, but Steve defends him off. A little bit further back we had DJD and Gold fighting Gold, as we saw went off turn 1. He started pretty high up on the grid, did Gold 45. I want to say he was actually second, wasn't he? And yeah, now he's down in P10. Mr. Ginge P11, Crazy down in P12, and then Ricky loving life in P13. Let's flick back up. So St Croix then, it's a long track this, it's a long lap, 2.5 minutes. So I would expect the field spread to elongate somewhat about halfway through the race, and then hopefully all crescendo together again towards the end. That's typically what happens with these things. We do have the Halfords machine of Steve Stones going for a move on the boss man. And we will jump on board with these drivers for a lap of St Croix in a moment. It's a fictional Gran Turismo circuit, although it is based in a real world place. And the track, if you go there, just doesn't exist though, unfortunately, which is a shame because it's a good fun track. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, Dennis, but I think I'm one of the only drivers to have won a GTTCC race at every single one of these circuits. Correct me if I'm wrong. The stats are there. The stats will back me up. It's the battle for P3 though. Slow Seamus just about becoming victorious in that one. Bale Stanovich's got the inside line. He's got a nose in as well, so he's going to be able to hold the inside line here. Seamus holds his nerve, which he does. Does he get a wall tap? He just about avoids it, I think. We're going to say he could have held it for the longer section then and probably gone for the slipstream overtake, but for the time being, the Irishman is holding firm. Belstanovic pops out the slipstream quite early. That's going to give Shaggy Scooby an opportunity to get involved in this fight though, because Belstanovic isn't getting any slipstream assistance here. He has got a nose alongside Seamus, but as you can see, all this is doing is bringing Shaggy Scooby into play. Belstanovic with the inside line, that's going to compromise his exit speed a little bit. Can Shaggy Scooby take advantage of that? We've had contact, Belstanovic is in the wall. Shaggy Scooby indeed does go up to P4. Steve Stone's P5, Shuri 69, P6, he's made some ground up. Gold 45 has worked his way up to P10. I'm missing loads of action here, boys. DJ D's all the way down in P12 as well, racing with Ricky. So there's a huge battle here between sort of like 8th and 3rd. So this is really where it's cooking. So the top two now, as we go to start the 3rd lap. And the top two are, in all fairness, they are buggering off. All this fighting behind isn't helping, but I think they've got the pace anyway. Shaggy Scooby's going for a really nice move around the outside. I'm going to go and look at that again. So this is on board Shaggy Scooby's car. We've got... There's a car there, look. Hello. Who's that? That's Steve Stones. So Steve Stones is there. We're behind Seamus. Just holds it around the outside, runs all the curb on the exit. And there's Steve Stones there, look. Nice move, Shaggy Scooby. I enjoyed watching that. So P4 for him. He really needs to get the chase on with slow Seamus and stop him from escaping into the abyss. It's all kicking off behind now. Gold 45, Martin Shuri fighting over P6 at the minute. You can see Shuri's trying to get on the back of Steve Stones as well. He does love St Croix. It's pretty much always his first pick. It's disappointing that he false started this. You kind of wonder what could have been really if he wasn't caught up in all this fighting. But he was. And he's down in P6 chasing down Steve Stones now. The field is starting to spread a little bit as we enter quite deep into the first stage of the race. Shuri's going for a move here on Steve Stones down the inside into the 90-degree left that leads us into a longer right hand, which then takes us into the slipstream zone. This isn't over for Steve Stones. He can slipstream the boss man down into the isn't hairpin. Gold 45 after being down in P10 due to getting it all wrong, T1, now up to P7. So he's got he's working his way through the field quite nicely, and he's got a big good bunch of cars right ahead of him, and he will hope to slice through that field very fast. Meanwhile, Steve Stones versus Seamus. Seamus had a bit of a forefront race. He's sure he's got onto the back of him. Oh, we've had a car off. Who's that? A car was off. A car was off. That was Seamus. That was Seamus. Seamus got a little bit... He held it. Like that was some Tokyo Drift style stuff, but... and we've got another car off. That's a car spinning around. Who's that? What happened here? That's sure... Oh, it's the boss. As he's pirouetting around. 360 no-scope the boss into the wall. As he re-enters, he has to try and stay out of the way. That's going to put him right down at the back of the field. Right down behind Mr. Ginge. He's down in P11 now. The banhammer is coming down from Shuri, no doubt about it then. So, this has split up a lot of this fight. As we see Mark go for a very impressive move down on slow Seamus, and he got that made up, although he did hit the wall on the exit. That's just going to give slow Seamus the run he needs to get back. Let's jump on board with Mark. He poked his nose out of the slipstream there. Was probably trying to put slow Seamus off. Didn't work in the end, but he may be trying to give his Ferrari that front end downforce it needs to attack that corner. It's still quite high speed. The front end downforce is needed. It's not like this one where you're very much relying on just getting the rotation in the car. Slow Seamus failed to do that and he ran wide. That's given Mark the easy overtake there. And Seamus is losing all sorts of ground in this race. He's down to P7 already. Not starting very well for him. A little bit further up, Gold 45 then. Kept his nose clean for the last couple of laps. He's up to P5 already. He's got P4 in his sights. P4 and P3 are well within range of Gold, and he is setting personal best lap times as well. Steve Stone's next on the hit list. 22.8 last time for Steve, 22.9 last time for Gold. So Steve Stone's has actually got the pace at the minute. Or is that just because Gold was working his way through traffic? I guess we'll find out during the race. Shaggy Scooby leads this little fight then. Tired Flea, these two guys at the top, I'm not going to apologise too much for this. You're leading by quite a lot at the minute, so there's no point really giving you guys too much coverage, but these guys are running in the 19s. So with pace like that, there's no wonder why they are as far ahead as they are. At the minute, Peter Mister, a commanding lead over every other car in the field. Shaggy Scooby sort of best of the rest at the minute. Leading away to Steve Stone. Steve's got Gold 45 all over him like a fat kid on a cupcake. Let's just keep an eye on this for the time being. Good overtake opportunity onto the start finish straight coming up. Steve Stone does go defensive, dips back over to the braking zone. Just run on board with Gold 45, gets a really nice exit there, does Gold. Steve's going to have to think about how he defends this. He's sticking in the slipstream of Shaggy Scooby. That's probably the best way of doing it, to be fair. Gold 45, actually you can hear Gold backs out of that nice and early. I'm kind of expecting this, and actually has to back out of it again on the apex, does Gold. For the time being, Steve Stones is holding steady, but it seems like it's only going to be a matter of time before the Budweiser Ferrari gets past Steve Stones. So this is the view from Steve Stones' roof. If you were to sit on it and look backwards, you'd see Gold 45 slinking his way down the Essex section. We're approaching the bridge now. It's a very difficult corner. It's off camber. It wants to drive the car wide. That's what it's done to Steve Stones there. And through goes Gold. Commentator's curse, and this race happened weeks ago. I don't know how I'm managing to do that. Gold 45 now up to P4. 2:18.9 that time for Gold. Now he's got some clear air. Those lap times are coming in. 2:21s then for Shaggy Scooby. As he smacks the wall, Gold 45 can get a little bit of slipstream coming down this part of the course. Let's flick through. Slow Seamus, P6 for him. Kind of on his own at the time being. Shuri 69, P7 for him. He's worked his way back up a little bit. Mr. Ginge, P8. DJD P9, Bale Stonovich in P10, Martin P11, got a little bit of a penalty as well. That last lap for Martin, 2:36, so he's had a massive off somewhere. Crazy P12, Crazy's actually done a 2:20.9, so decent pace from Crazy. And Rick is in the pit lane. No doubt as to who is leading the way at the minute. That is Peter Mister. He is absolutely smashing this. 12 minutes enough. 12 or so minutes of elapsed. Oh, he's smashing the race. He's smashing his car to bits as well. Tired Fleet, a couple of seconds behind, so these two in a race of their own at the minute as they start lap number 6. Gold 45, we've missed it. This is important. This is an overtake for a podium position. This is Gold 45 versus Shaggy Scooby. He dips to the inside there, Shaggy on the outside. Gold goes back to the racing line to get the better exit speed. He does that, clips the apex, lovely there. Shaggy Scooby almost had to scrub off some speed mid-corner. Gold's just done to hang this one round the outside, I think. Yeah, looks like Shaggy Scooby lifted to let him take that, and Gold 45 through to P3. So a very impressive drive the last few laps from Gold. Was P10, the end of, P10 after one corner. Worked his way back up to P3. Shaggy Scooby could do well to hang on to the back of Gold for a little bit, help him defend as D Stone. Slow Seamus still holding on to that P6 spot. Can see other cars, so I guess it's not too lonely for him. Shury's just going to be looking at these guys as dots in the distance at the time being. I've got Bale Stonovich in the pits behind, but we've got Mr. Ginge and DJD battling away at the minute. As you just see there, Shury locks a brake going into T1. And then Mart, P10 for him. Still carrying a little bit of that penalty. Bale Stonovich comes out with the pits. He's going for the undercut. So he comes out in P11. And with a little bit of clear air in front of him as well, he can pump in some times now. Crazy. He's P12 and Ricky's still in the pit lane, probably gone for a cup of tea. We pick up the race on lap 7. A couple of pit stops have happened. Not all drivers have pitted, some have, some haven't. A little battle developing between Seamus and Dennis. This is currently for P5. So Slow Seamus currently leading this, but Dennis in prime position now to get some valuable suck action down the say main straight, the longest straight. Seamus with a very wide line going through. Oh, he's hit the wall. So let Dennis through. That was an easy overtake. Seamus, why are you making it so easy for him? Bad lad. So Bossman getting the nosebleed being this high. He's P5, but it is his favourite circuit, so we'll let him have the credit. SD Stone's currently running P4 by virtue of not pitting, I think, at the minute. Gold 45 hasn't pitted, neither has Tired Fleet or Peter Mister. They might be trying the no stop. Can't quite remember how bad Tired Egg was at St Croix. I don't know how good in the well. Peter Mister's not. I was just going to say I don't know what lap times they're doing, but Peter Mister's just whacked in a 17.8. Fusion lads were doing low 17s, so he was obviously managing things the first time round, and now just got, you know what, I'm just going to bugger off. So yeah, that kind of puts pay to that theory, I guess. Tired Fleet P2, Steve Stone's pits from P4, then just gives Gold 45 a bit of breathing space in P3. He can stick in some solid laps down, but he doesn't want to get undercut by the guys behind too hard. So if he's going to pit, he could really do it coming in at the end of this lap, really. Right, Slow Seamus, who hasn't pitted but has put massive dents in his car recently. He's in P4. Steve Stone's P5 for Steve. I want to say he might have pitted, you know. Sure, he's 69 has pitted. He comes out in P7. Shaggy Scooby has pitted. He was running quite high as well, you remember, early on in the race, and we saw a nice overtake on him from, I think it was Gold. He's P7 at the minute. Stonovich P8. Oh, nice little battle developing in between Mart and Ginge. Both drivers have pitted, but a lap apart from each other, so Mart's got the slightly older tyres, but they will have warmed up and up to temperature. Mr. Ginger's tyres, having just come out of their tyre blankets, will be cooling down. We need to work those tyres up to temperature. You can see that Ferrari's struggling to get the balance right, and it's kind of all over the place in the early stages. He needs to start generating some heat into those tyres and get on, and he can use Bale Stonovich to defend Tamar. DJD P11 at the minute then. Crazy in P12, just coming onto the bridge now. Ricky J's enjoying his cup of tea in the garage, watching the action unfold. Peter Mister smashing it out at the front. I'm not going to get a ton of video coverage because it's quite boring just watching the leader go around. Tired Fleet P2. Is he getting caught by Gold though? So 220.5 last time, 219.4 for Gold last time out. So Gold's got 11 minutes to catch him. Neither of these guys have pitted, so it's either a case of who pits or it's a case of who manages tyres. We might just be about to get an answer from Tired Fleet. He pits. Does Gold 45 match him and pit, or is he just going to go for the brave no-stop strategy? Gold 45 carries on for another lap. We might not see him in the pits at all then. Does Tired Fleet come out? He's been released from his pit box now. Tired Fleet's out of the pit lane. Gold 45 gets past him going into T1. But importantly now, Tired Fleet's going to have fresh tyres. He can do a Peter Miss to get those tyres up to temperature and smash in some fast laps now. Gold 45 though with an almost assured P3 at this stage unless he falls off. Steve Stone's wondering what track limits even are. He's P4 at the minute. Slow Seamus, again not pitted, so these guys might be able to pull a result like the bag just based on strategy and good tyre management. Keeping those Michelin tyres alive at this late stage. Sure, he has pitted, he's got fresh rubber on, he can go balls to the wall now. Shaggy Scooby's got a bit of a penalty, he's just actually shut that off. So let's see what develops in this race. We're at that part in the race where things kind of, we're going to say things settle down, but Ginger and Mart are fighting. You tend to find with these things that you have a little bit of a settling off period in the middle. I think pit stops are just working themselves out right now. And then the last sort of 5 minutes when things get a little bit more frantic. Mr. Ginger's still struggling with that Ferrari's balance. The back end's wanting to step out in these off-camber corners, and that's let Mart through for an easy pass coming onto the bridge. Is that going to leave Mr. Ginge vulnerable to DJD in the background as well? DJD's probably just a bit far away to take advantage of that. But if Mr. Ginge doesn't solve his balance issues out very quickly, he's going to have a DJD all over his backside very, very quickly. Nice livery on that car as well, DJD. I do quite like that one. Some really good liveries on the show, I've got to be honest. These lads do put a lot of time into these. Some of them recruit help, because we do have some excellent pro livery drivers in the GTTCC. Some very clever, creative people in the group. I'm not one of them. Gold 45 then, still leading to Tired Flea, but you kind of get the feeling now with the fresh tyres on the Budweiser Ferrari, it's only a matter of time. Gold 45's got another 8 minutes to hang on to this. That's another 3 laps maybe. It's a lot to ask, because the tyres on this car are going to start to scream in pain very soon. And it's not like it's a difficult track to get past on. It's nice and wide, plenty of overtaking opportunities, plenty of opportunity for drivers to stick it wide as well. As we watch on the back of Gold 45, you'll see Tired Flea just gain little bits of time during the apex as he can carry that little bit more speed than Gold at the minute. 220.6 for Gold that time out, 221.6 for Tired Flea, but he was warming his tyres up at the same point. Just see how much more speed he can carry coming down the S's. Gold just missing the inner apex there. That's going to cost her a few miles an hour on the exit. We'll keep an eye on that battle. See if that one develops. Meanwhile, Steve Stokes behind. Not out of that fight. He's setting personal best lap times. If these two squabble, that will bring him right into the fray. Oh, as we see the boss man sideways. Tokyo drifting it. Let's just go on board with him. So this is on entry to the bridge. If you hit the curb and you hook a wheel on the curb, your game's over really, and I think that's what he does. Yeah, he hooks a wheel on the curb, but he rescues it brilliantly, gotta be said, but I think new trousers are needed for the Michelin driver then as he hunts down Seamus for P5. He managed to survive that little miss and dimmer. As we see Seamus actually run it wide, that lets Sherry through for an easy overtake. So he went from the guy behind making all the mistakes to just probably trapping a brake a little bit late coming off the bridge. That braking zone's slightly downhill, you need to account for that in your turn in, start coming off the brakes quite early to get that turn in made. Seamus is a good driver, he knows that. Probably just got on those brakes a little bit late, just in order to defend against the threat from the boss man up ahead. Shaggy Scooby, P7 at the minute. He's got some work to do to catch up to those guys, but he's got no threat from behind because Bale Stonovich is quite a way back. Bale has got a Mart chasing him down. Mart after getting past Mr. Ginge. Mr. Ginge has now got DJD all over him. DJD will be looking at that P10 and thinking it'll be quite a juicy prize for him. That's Mr. Ginge goes a little bit deep. Can DJD get that move made? DJD hasn't got Crazy to worry about because Crazy is Crazy's quite a way back. While I was covering that little battle with DJD and Mr. Gins, this was happening. So we'll rewound. This is instant replay territory, and this is Gold 45 versus Tired Flea. Lap number 10. Gold hasn't pitted, Tired Flea has. He's now got his tyres up to working temperature and is going on the attack for P2. Peter Mister is way off in the distance, so this is a fight for P2 unless P1 bins it. Tired Flea pops out of the slipstream, goes for the inside line. It's going to be side by side going until not hairpin. Gold 45 actually concedes that before the corner. Is he going to come back on the attack? He takes a wider line. Is he going to go for the cutback, get on the power a little bit earlier? Gold 45 on the attack then. Tired Flea gets a good exit, parks it on the apex, but Gold has got some good speed coming out of that corner. Tired Flea just about holding on. Gold 45 sweeps round the outside. He likes doing that. It's the second time this race he's done it. Side by side, Gold just goes a little bit too deep and just taps the barrier. That is Tired Flea then up to P2. Gold 45 is going to have to settle for P3. But on old age tyres, it's probably a wise move. Steve Stones then. How far is he back? He's just coming on to the start-finish straight now. So if Gold 45 can just hold his nerve for the next few minutes, he'll be absolutely fine. So we'll pick this battle back up then, I think, now. We resume where we left off. DJD versus Mr. Ginge. Starting lap 11. DJD's going to go for the move down into T1. He's got the inside line. Nice move, but again, Mr. Ginge just struggling to get the balance, but still gets a better exit than DJD out of that corner. He's going to have to go round the outside if he wants to get this done. He might just get ahead before the corner though, so he might have to worry about it. Mr. Ginge, P10, yes, he's got that move made. So Mr. Ginge fights back with Valor. Although coming down the S's, can DJD do anything coming into the bridge section? If he gets a better exit onto the bridge, that will set him up for a nice move coming off it. He goes wide, cuts back. Oh, and Mr. Ginge again just does a Dennis and hooks a wheel on the curb, and it unsettles the car, but he holds it together nicely. But DJD's just going to be able to sweep it around the outside. And for the time being, it's DJD and Mr. Ginge in that order. Let's go back and have a look at Peter Mister. Yeah, there he is. Tired Flea, P2. After getting past Gold, oh, nearly runs a little bit wide coming out of there. That was very close, Tired Flea. Oh, my butthole clenched a little bit for you there. Gold still not a million miles away. You can still, if Tired Flea makes a mistake, he's there ready to pounce. They are. Steve Stones is catching them, but not at a rate that's quick enough at this minute in time. He would have to have some ridiculous pace to catch them, to be fair. Boss man, P5 after a false start and spinning round about 8 times, you'll probably be quite happy with a P5. Slow Seamus, a race filled with mistakes, I'm afraid to say, for Slow Seamus. Kind of a what could have been, because the pace is there. He just keeps making little mistakes. Shaggy Scooby, another driver that might well walk away from this one thinking what could have been. He was quite high up at the start of it. Kind of tailed off mid-race. He started picking it back up again though, but nowhere near the podium that he was looking at earlier on. Bale Stonovich had a very busy day as Bale Stonovich. His car displays that as well. You can barely see the Michelin man on his car anymore because of the amount of damage that's been done to that Ferrari. Mart made some good moves, says Mart. He's up to P9. DJD, after getting past Mr. Ginge, holds P10. Mr. Ginge and the Castrol car holding on to P11. Crazy in P12, and then Ricky got to have finished that cup of tea by now. He's still in the pits, presumed retired from the race. So we said about Gold and Tired Flea. They're still very close together. Less than a second in it between these two. Gold's going to get some slipstream from Tired Flea here. If Gold can snatch back P2, for me that'll be a supreme drive. Given that Tired Flea spent the majority of this race on his own lapping in P2, and Gold after turn 1 was down in P10. So a superb drive from Gold so far. Can he get that move made back on the Budweiser car? He's not pressuring the issue too much at this minute in time. He knows there's time left in the race. Another lap easily after this one. We've got 2 and a bit minutes remaining. They're coming towards the end of the lap now. They'll probably just about start their last lap. Yeah, they're going to start their last lap now. So Gold needs to think about where this move's going to happen, if that move can be made. Don't forget his tyres will be screaming in agony. Tide Fleet's tyres will be starting to go a little bit as well, but they will be a lot fresher than the cars behind him. Of course, he came into the pits for that fresh rubber, came out behind Gold, had to chase him down for a couple of laps, got ahead of him. But I think that fight and running behind a car for a while did put pay to a little bit of his tyre wear, spent a lot of time scrubbing them. And that's just going to help Gold's cause as he goes on the attack now as we start the 13th and final lap. Gold does go on the attack, Tide Fleet defends that, albeit a little bit late. But does just about manage to get there before the braking zone as we enter the S's, and Tide Fleet is ahead of Gold 45 here. And we will flick through the order in just a moment as well. And don't worry, you won't miss anything from this fight. If anything happens, I'll cut it and we'll come back via the magic of video editing. Tide Fleet not with the best line into the bridge there. Gold had a much better entry. And yeah, you can see the speed difference between these two Ferraris. They are exactly the same car, and even on the older tyre, Gold 45 got the overdrive on the Budweiser car. He's going to have to go around the outside. He's not going to be able to brake later than the Budweiser car, who... Oh, do it! Oh, has he got it? Has he got it? I've got to go back and look at that anyway, no matter what happens here. I'm going back to look at that, but there's a little bit of contact there. Lou, don't like to see that, don't do that. Oh, he just about... Right, let's go back and have a look at this from Gold. So this is Gold coming off the bridge. He's kind of going to be forced wide here by Tide Fleet, who takes the defensive line. That's absolutely fine. Don't forget Gold's tyres have done 13 or 12 and a bit laps of this circuit now. I think Tide Fleet gave him a little bit too much credence there, and that just allowed Gold to coast that corner really. So I think then no way is Tide Fleet pushing that issue too much. He's going to go back at him here though, down into the not hairpin. We'll do a little bit of a recap in a second. Tide Fleet, is he back ahead? He is on the timing boards. Can Gold do the cutback? He's liked that move all race as Gold. He does go for the cutback. Tide Fleet just about keeps hold of it. This is Gold's favourite place to make an overtake. I really appreciate missing loads of action on circuit. We will rewind this in a moment. I'll pause the stream when we get to the end of this little battle and we'll go through the entire grid on the final lap fresh. Tide Fleet then is going to come across victorious unless he slaps the wall here. Tide Fleet's going to take P2. Unlucky for Gold that, because I thought he might just do it. Right, let's do this grid recap. So what we did miss as we were covering that, there's a nice little battle here between Bale Stonovich and Mart. So this is for P8. Bale slaps the wall there as we go around to start the final lap. Mark's got the overspeed because he had a cleaner exit. Is he going to go for the move down into T1? I did see them just close, so I thought we'd cover it no matter what. Mark has got the inside line. Bale's going to go for the cutback. I'd argue both cars got a good exit. There's a little bit of contact to the apex side. Bale comes across to defend. Can Mark come back at him here? Turn 3. His favourite overtaking spot of mine is turn 3. If he can force the car to go wide, the camber on the outside of that circuit is not a nice place to be. For the time being, Bale survives. Right, let's do a little bit of a recap of the order then. So, Peter Mister, pretty dominant race from Peter Mister. He's led from the start, led every lap, fastest lap as well, and pole. Superb performance from Peter Mister in the quick fit car. Gold 45 and Tide Fleet. This is the battle we've just watched. We don't need to watch that, and we know how that ends as well. Steve Stone's currently holding P4. He's got Dennis a couple of seconds back. Seamus is a couple of seconds further back from those as well. Shaggy Scooby's not too far back from Seamus, but not close enough to fight him. We've covered Bale and Mark, but DJD is getting involved in that as well. DJD, who's had that nice fight with Mr. Ginge. Mr. Ginge, who's fighting with Crazy at the minute. So Mr. Ginge and Crazy deciding who's going to be the last finisher to race round the last corner. Crazy got a good run out of that corner actually, and it's going to be Mr. Ginge down at the back for the time being. That's a tired fleet currently holding on to P11. Goes wide, Mr. Ginge cuts down the inside. He's going to go deep there. Can Crazy go for the cutback? Right, let's have a little look through and give everyone the credit they deserve as they cross the line. Peter Mister then, as we commented a moment ago, absolutely dominant performance. Takes the win at St Croix. And that lovely taste of champagne will be sweet on his lips tonight. Tired fleet, as we've already covered. He's going to come and take P2 from Gold 45's grasp. Tired Fleet, who has run most of his race in P2, just pitted for some fresh rubber, something no one else in the top three did. Gold, you'll remember, had that spin on lap 1 which put him down at the back in the first place, so a great drive from Gold 45 even to get back close to a podium. Steve Stones, we've not covered much Steve Stones much. He's snuck under the radar into a P4 spot. Has kept his nose clean largely. Dennis, P5 for Dennis. An eventful race for the Bossman, has been spinning around all sorts. Slow Seamus, just about fights off Shaggy Scooby for P6. So Shaggy Scooby P7, Bale Stonovich just about holds off this little horde of cars. He's going to come home in P8. Mart is going to bring it in P9. DJD in P10. Mr. Ginge just about gets ahead of Crazy for P11. Crazy in P12, and then Ricky P13. That's your lot, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. Tune in for the next race. Bye.